Warning: the following video may have language that some viewers may find offensive, and others are already offended. Viewer discretion is advised, but not really. No animals were hurt in the making of this 4-hour feature film.
Hi everybody, have you ever been driving down South Edgware Road and there's a kind of a funny sign that has some quite the sayings on it from time to time, like, my wallet is like an onion. When I open it up, it makes me cry, which is probably pretty true. This one I like is education is important, but coffee is importanter. It's kind of like a friend of mine that always used to say everything is gooder. I always told him it's East Coast talk. You may be driving down South Edgware Road, you look over and it'll all of a sudden say, what do Eskimos get when they're sitting on ice too long? Polaroids. Yeah. Painful. And then we have my favorite. I like this one.
Okay.
You ever seen this one? This is Diarrhea Awareness Week. It runs until Friday. Yeah, those are nice. So anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure you have an idea on what kind of guys put these signs out, what kind of business these guys have. So from the auto guys, Bob Ward. Hey, Bob.
Hi, Tony.
Thank you so much for coming in. It's going to be a good chat.
You're welcome.
Those signs, Bob, they're pretty cool. Who does them?
Well, I change them, but customers give us them, and we get a lot of them off of Google.
Okay.
Which, to be honest, you never know where they are. I mean, my wife and I could be out driving somewhere and we see one, and we'll just take a picture of it and put it up. And
that's cool.
I love to plagiarize.
I like the one just recently about the I'm addicted to brake fluid, but I can stop anytime. Yeah.
Or the other one that people seem to like is I once was addicted to soap, but I'm clean now.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, that was
but
just
that one came from a customer.
Did it? That's a really good one. It reminds me a lot of a couple things. So Beaver Creek Animal Hospital always puts up their jokes on the thing. And a little while ago when we had those sign wars that were going around and you were challenging, I think you guys did it a little bit.
We did it once. We challenged somebody else to it.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny, especially when you had like Subway challenging Mr. Sub and all those different things. So yeah, that was pretty good. So, so Bob, you're the owner of the Auto Guys.
Right.
Very busy.
We are a busy shop. Yes.
Busy. I know I've had to have my van in there a couple times, and sometimes you gotta wait. There's just lots of people, which makes it hard because sometimes you can't schedule a breakdown.
You can't, and that's the challenge, Tony, because when you're booking your day, you always have to leave a little bit of room for a breakdown or somebody to try and because we never know when they're going to happen, and we depend on our vehicles so much these days that if it does break down on you, you're lost, right? Yep. So we try our best to try and accommodate people.
Whatever happened, Bob, to I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is probably insurance, but at one time garages used to have loaner vehicles. What made them disappear?
They're still out there.
Are they?
Yes, but the liability insurance on them is so expensive.
Yeah.
Right. And there's ways around that. Sometimes if we have some clients that have a big job, we'll rent a car for them because we get commercial rates.
Right.
And if the job is a big job and we're waiting for parts, then we'll absorb the cost.
Okay.
For it, which is oddly enough for the amount of times that happens, it's cheaper to do it that way.
Okay.
Now we do have the shuttle, so I mean we shuttle people all the time.
Okay, taking them to and from or whichever.
That's right.
Okay.
Or even taking a technician up. Sometimes people find it difficult to get their car in, so while they're at work, we'll send somebody up there and pick the car up at the work, bring it back, and then work on it, and then take it back there.
Oh, okay.
So
nice.
And that's what we do a lot of lately.
Okay, that's nice. So do you have specific people to do that in your business, or is that like just you and the mechanics or whoever's a free, you'll go and shuttle?
It's
a car?
between Nick, my manager, and myself.
Okay.
We're the two that do that.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Now, regarding tariffs and everything that's coming, especially on the automotive side, the 25% now has just been announced. So how's that going to affect you guys? Especially when you get into parts.
We don't know really how it's going to affect us, because the thing with parts is they could be, some of the parts could be assembled in Canada, but they start out in the US and
Okay.
they're sub-assembled down there and then brought in here. So we don't know how the tariffs are going to affect us. The bottom line is you and I, being end users, are the ones that are going to have to cough up the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's on both sides of the border.
Yep.
So it's a tough nut to crack, but we're prepared for it.
Okay.
But the biggest thing that we've had to deal with since COVID is supply chain disruptions, because manufacturing facilities shut down. We ran out of stupid stuff like spray paint.
Really?
We couldn't get spray paint for the longest time. I'll bet you it was 6-8 months.
Really?
And what spray paint you could get, gee, let me think. The suppliers knew what they had and they jacked the price up.
Oh.
Right? So supply and demand. So, and you never know how this is going to affect you.
Yeah.
But right now, it's back orders are a huge problem with the manufacturers, because with the quality of aftermarket parts is waning, and we're finding that we're having to buy more original equipment quality parts.
A major.
Because the quality is there. We don't want to do the same job twice. So therein lies another challenge, is when you're putting on original equipment quality parts, you're working on smaller margins.
Right.
Okay, but we're of the mindset that we don't want to see again within a premature failure of a part. So we'll put the good quality part on, so you aren't back very often
Okay.
for that, right?
Right. Right. Wow. There is so much to this, and it's going to affect people in so many different ways.
Mhm.
We were just talking here, and all of a sudden my little board decided to do its own. It started changing the audio,
Okay.
and I'm like, all of a sudden I'm getting an echo. It does Gremlins.
Yeah.
Must be the Orange Man syndrome.
It requires your attention all the time.
It does require. So,
But the thing with the tariffs, Tony, I think everybody, in this is my opinion, is everybody is giving a knee-jerk reaction to this.
okay.
You've got to kind of chew on it a bit, and don't offer any reactions, and see. We got to rely on our politicians to negotiate this properly.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're talking tariffs and counter tariffs and all this.
Mhm.
It's not going to work. So, but again, I can't predict how it's going to affect us. I
Right.
really can't.
We
There's
just
been so many changes since COVID that that's the thing with us. You never know from one thing day to the next.
yeah.
You can't rely on things being consistent,
Mhm.
right? You
Mhm.
always have to be prepared for a change and be reactive to that, right? You can be proactive, but it's very difficult.
Hey, Bob. So I got some a list of questions I wanted to ask you
Sure.
that we're going to kind of run down. But let's start off to introduce you. So where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
I was born and raised in London.
Okay.
And I went to high school and public school in London, and then I attended University of Western Ontario and graduated from Western.
Okay.
But all the time I was working, going to Western, I was working in garages and stuff, and I really started to enjoy that.
Did you?
But my career that I wanted to go in was being a high school teacher.
Oh,
But
did you
so
really?
so many other people, when I was graduated, had the same intentions, that I would have to go and repeat my last year and get my grades up higher just to get into teachers college.
Okay.
And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that.
Oh.
So then I embarked in an automotive career, and I really enjoyed it. The challenge being the technological advances were just starting to ramp up.
Okay.
If you take a window from 46 to 66, if you knew how to work on a car in 1946, you didn't need to get any training. The same cars all the way through for that that time frame, there were hardly any changes.
Okay.
In 6 months, there's 100 times more technological changes in that 6 months minimum than in that 20-year period from 46 to 66.
Wow.
So that requires an exceptionally smart technician who gets constant training and upgrades to be able to work on these cars. And that's the challenge, is finding the training and getting the training so these guys can take them. Sometimes it involves their own time at night, or sometimes we have to send them away during the day, but they're always training. You just can't sit back on your laurels. And that's the thing that I was looking forward, was the training. I remember when I started in the trade, propane was the big thing. So I got certified in propane. We did installations, we did testing and examining, and all through that. And of course, that faded.
Yeah.
But if you want to be in business now, you have to be on the forefront of technology. You can't sit back and wait for things to happen, because everything will run right by you.
So, okay, so on that though, so for you to know what's coming, where do you go to get the insides of, say, a new technology? Does manufacturers put something out to, like, you can go to a certain manufacturer and read what they're working on?
Not really that. What I do is I belong to a half a dozen professional associations of auto shop owners, and I belong to one that is the Parts Suppliers Network in Canada.
Okay.
I belong to those, and that's where you find where the new trends are. And you find out what these new suppliers are going to be handling and where it's trending. Like, take, for instance, electric vehicles. We've had 2 public charging stations in front of my shop for almost 2 years.
Yeah, you have.
Nobody had them in St. Thomas when I put those in.
Correct.
I knew that they were going to be needed. Because of that, it spurred us advertising that we service electric vehicles. They all have tires, they all have brakes, they require regular maintenance. Not oil changes like the other cars, right?
That's right. Yep.
But
different there. No exhaust systems.
Nope. And to get into that market, we've had to send the guys to training.
Okay.
Right? And it's a challenge, because you got to really watch. There's a lot of training out there, but the good training is harder to find.
Okay.
And that's what you want to find is I don't want to waste the technician's time or my time sending them to a course that they're not going to enjoy, because that has to challenge them. Because I've got 2 of my technicians now, all of the techs that I've had over my career, they've each had their own strengths.
Okay.
And we play to those strengths. So if one of them is in diagnostics, then we give him those diagnostics jobs, because he enjoys them, right?
Right.
But here's the challenge, is that not all cars are the same. We have a huge following of German cars, and the diagnostics tree that you follow with them is completely different than anybody else's. The Germans seem to think differently, and when you get into the diagnostics and you get into scanning the cars, you have to realize how they do it and where to find the information.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Because it's not easy to get.
So you got to be, it's almost bilingualism in automotive terms. Yeah.
Because the thing in business is, what we want to do is we want to make it, if you bring a car into us, I don't want to have to sit there and look you in the eye and say, Tony, I can't do that. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So it's our challenge is to say, yes, we do that.
Okay.
So no is not in our vocabulary. So once people get that comfort level that you can bring your car to us, and if we can't do it, then I know, and I've got a very tight network of other shops that I can rely on, be it either collision shops or transmission shops, that we can send you to them, knowing that you'll be treated with respect the same way we do it. Because if you refer somebody, Tony, your reputation's on the line.
Yeah.
Right? So if I didn't like who you send me to, then that doesn't look good.
Hey, I am dealing with that right now with a place where I bought my vehicle that went to an auto body shop here in town that supposedly had done some work, and anyway, it's not good.
No.
It didn't last within a few months already. peeling the paint.
Mm-hmm.
The original place that sent me there told me that this place that did the body work,
Yep.
they're not going to honor their work, that it was that way worse than when we got it. But
Yep. Mm-hmm.
but anyway,
It's
I'm
unfortunate.
left holding that, right? So
Yeah.
now am I going to go back to where I bought the vehicle?
Mhm.
Yeah, probably not.
No.
No, I'm done, because that already showed me that they don't care.
And the thing with, if it doesn't matter whether whoever you're dealing with, you want to have
Mhm.
confidence that they're going to give you the best information possible that is going to benefit you. Okay, and that could be some personal advice about something on your vehicle, or like you with your body shop,
Mhm.
your body work. There's 2 body shops that we deal with in town because of the quality of their workmanship.
Right.
So I have utmost faith to send them to you.
Yep. Yep.
But not everybody's that way. We want to be able to help people out with their vehicles, and there's more to it than just fixing them.
Yeah.
Okay, because you got to look at a vehicle as a substantial investment now.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And,
it is.
And a lot of vehicles now, the maintenance on them is a lot more money than it used to be.
Right.
Like oil changes are not $30, $40 anymore.
No.
And it's a lot of the manufacturers using very, very specific oil to that vehicle,
Yep.
which is very expensive. But there's a reason for that. And unfortunately, when you buy these vehicles, the salespeople don't tell you that.
Yeah.
So we're part of an education process.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And we're also part of the CAA organization.
Brings you back to your teaching.
Yeah.
You're still part teacher, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you are part of the CAA.
We're the only
Yeah.
approved CAA repair shop in St. Thomas.
Wow.
And we're a multiple award-winning shop for customer service, because
Okay.
in order to be part of the CAA network, repair network, they vet their shops quite a bit.
Okay.
And you have to keep those they monitor us, and they do inspections on us to make sure that we're representing them properly.
Okay.
Yep.
So they're,
So-
yeah.
And I like to run the place so that if somebody comes in unannounced, it's going to be the same. Nothing frustrates me. I can tell in businesses in town here, when all of a sudden you see a flurry of work, you know that somebody's coming from the parent company to check them out. They let them know ahead of time.
Okay.
But that's not right,
Yeah.
because it should be the same every single time.
No, yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you seen then, being part of the CAA? Have you had business come to you that's not, say, outside of our area? So maybe they're, I was going to say Fingal or Shedden, but I mean, that's still kind of our area. But somebody that maybe South London or whatever, do they come down to you here because they're part of CAA themselves? Or have
They
you seen that?
They
Yeah.
can if they have the good comfort level with the shop. But
Okay.
we get a lot of tow-ins from CAA where people are traveling, and
Right.
then they
Okay.
bring them to the first repair shop, right?
Okay. Yep.
And the comfort level of people with CAA is very high, because I've been a member of CAA personally for 40 years.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, and I can see the value of it. Now, we've been a part of the CAA repair organization for 35.
Okay.
Okay, because when I was a Midas dealer in town, we were one of only very few Midas shops that were CAA approved.
Okay.
Only because we've vetted properly and we met their criteria. Okay.
I can see then, yeah, towing. Yeah, that's a big one. I didn't even really think of that. So I'm a CAA member too. I have a premium account with them, but
Right.
I was traveling a lot, North Bay, all that
Mhm.
area, back and forwards. And I always kept thinking, man, if I ever did break down, on my premium, I could actually be in Huntsville
Mhm.
and they can tow me home. I have 400 and some odd kilometers towing on one I can do, which
Mhm.
puts me in that range.
Yeah.
But if I didn't, if I had just the basic premium that's only, I think, 50 kilometers or
Mhm.
whatever, then so where would I go?
They
I
would
don't know
refer-
anybody up there, right?
No.
So this is where you would come in. 'cause
They
you're-
would. The CAA would refer you to one of their approved shops up in Barrie.
Yeah.
Or in that area.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank God I haven't had to ever
No.
do that. But
That's true.
So, yeah, when you started though, I remember when on the farm and up in Grand Bender. I mean, I remember taking the carburetor off the old truck, having it on the kitchen table,
Mhm.
cleaning it, turning the old distributor caps and the timing, and
Yep.
that was fun. You
Yep.
could do that. Did all my own oil changes and
Sure.
grease jobs, and even up till not too many years ago, I always did my own oil changes.
Right.
But synthetic oil started coming out more and more. There was no more just going to the store and getting the 10W30.
Mm-hmm.
1040, if I had a pretty good oil leak, it was 2050 in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Thicker the oil, the better we went.
Yeah.
I remember years ago when I worked at the Automotive lube shop, that used to be part of One Stop Brake
Right.
back then. And the guy beside, he had an old Ford Bronco that he used to fill up with a hydraulic oil in his engine oil
Mm-hmm.
because it would burn so much oil, and the hydraulic oil it liked it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but things that you could never, the biggest mistake, Bob, and in today's world, my wife, who passed away quite a few years ago, but she used to have a Suzuki Swift.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a little car with a sewing machine engine and a
Right.
3-cylinder. Had an idling problem one time, so I thought, not a big deal. It didn't want to seem to idle, so I just went out and turned the idling screw, adjusted it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like we haven't ever done before. You get idle your car faster, whatever.
Right.
Anyway, that was a $400 screw up.
Mm-hmm.
By the time it went to the shop, I had to go on the diagnostic, the computers, reset the main computer, because by me turning that, screwed up the computer, so it started to overcompensate for what I did. So I thought, well, it started running really bad, so I turned it back to where it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that just sent it right through a whole breakdown. And
Sure.
yeah, it was $400 just for turning that screw. So do you still see that in today's world where people are still trying to tinker with their cars and the computers are, shutting them down?
It's the way the cars are manufactured now. You can't tinker with anything.
You can't tinker with it.
Nope.
Okay.
And there's a reason for that, because like you just said, everything is so integrated. If you try and do one thing, you'll upset a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do people try and work on their cars? Yes. Google Garage is a great source of business for me, because it leads people down the wrong path.
Yeah.
And they have to take it someplace to fix it.
To fix it. Yeah.
But at the same time, you got to be compassionate with these people, because cars are not cheap to fix.
No.
And if they can figure out a way to do it themselves and save some money, hey, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
And if you do mess up, we'll help you fix it, right? But not making you feel bad.
It's like, Bob, it's when you're not feeling well,
Mm-hmm.
don't Google your symptoms, because you wound up with leprosy and everything else, and you're dying in 6 weeks. And,
Well, sure.
yeah.
Yep.
So I guess the cars would be. There used to be a show. Did you ever listen to it a lot? I think it was on Radio 98, Ask the Mechanics.
Yep.
They used the phone-ins and stuff. That
Mm-hmm.
I always found that fascinating. Always enjoyed listening to that when I was driving truck, and I used to listen to that when I was in the area. And people talking about, my car is making this noise or it's doing that. And
Yeah.
did you always play that game too when you were listening to that? You always
Not really with that, but I sat on the board of directors. I've been a Better Business Bureau member for 40 years.
okay.
Okay. And I sat on their board for 6 years. But we participated. They had in AM 980. They had at 10:30 on Saturday mornings. They had a half-hour segment, and I did several shows with them dealing with
did you?
winter tires and oil changes and maintenance and things like that.
Okay.
But it was more informative. The people weren't calling in then. But now the problems here now, it's very difficult to answer questions for people, because cars are so sophisticated.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when I'm looking at the guys working on the cars in the shop, I can't do any of the stuff those guys did.
Wow.
Right? But if an old car comes in with a carburetor, they come and see the old man, right?
Yeah.
And I respect those guys for doing that. Now I can stand there and watch them do it, and they'll explain what they're doing, and I understand that. But you give me that scan tool,
You're lost now.
I'm
honestly.
lost,
Yeah.
right? And if you think of,
Wow.
I've got 2 scan tools that we use to communicate with cars. I have more money invested in those than my 40-year-old collection of tools in 2 scan tools.
Okay. Wow.
And it has to be upgraded all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So it's software. Everything's software related, Tony.
So those guys are they're your heart of that business. is
100%.
These guys. I come in with the car that my brother-in-law used to have. So I'm rolling in to see you with a '63 Parisienne, got a 283 in it.
I'm your guy.
I'm going to see Bob.
Yep.
Yeah,
But, I tell everybody I dye my hair white, but nobody believes me. But I'm trying to wane myself off of fixing those cars.
Are you?
Yeah, because it's getting harder for me to work on them, and my eyes aren't as good as they used to be.
Yeah.
But the people that own these cars are having a hard time trying to find people to work on them.
True.
Because the young kids are out here. Now, there's a couple. One of the guys that used to work for me was big on that, and he would hang with me, and he'd want to learn all this stuff. Well, he's an anomaly.
Okay.
Because if you can plug in a computer and you can analyze it that way and figure it out, now you still have to have some gray matter between your ears.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because even though people are under the premonition that the computer is going to tell you everything is wrong with it, no. It just points you in a direction, and you have to really think about what makes it work.
Okay.
And these there's always, and that's what I like about the team that we've got. It's not every man for himself in that shop. If one of the guys has got a problem with something, he'll call somebody over and bounce it off them. And between the two of them, they'll work it out.
Yeah.
And that's what you need. It's a team environment.
Absolutely.
Right? In the big shops that are flat rate, which means you're only paid while you're working on a car, it's every man for himself.
Yeah.
They don't help each other because there's no money in it for them. Right?
Yep. Gotcha.
And that's why people like to go to the independents, because they feel more comfortable with their cars. And when you come in the showroom, you can see the shop, what's going on in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the big thing. My wife makes sure that we keep the place nice and clean and neat.
Yeah.
And because that's another perception that people have. It's like if you're out driving around, how do you know when it's a good restaurant? It's usually the one that's got the full parking lot.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
So there's your premonition right there.
And you got popcorn.
We do.
I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got popcorn. So I wanted to ask, so if you do have, my kind of dream is one day I would like to buy a classic car.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to go back to, maybe a 63 or whatever. But how readily are parts for those cars? Can you still get them pretty easy, or is it taking a lot of searching now for historic cars?
A lot more searching.
Yeah?
Yeah, because a lot of the people that were in it are not in it anymore.
Okay.
So it's gone digital. So you really have to know what you want and what you need. But when you order it, it's yours. So you really have to be careful what you're ordering.
Okay.
But again, it's the network that you develop of who to go for,
right.
to talk to about certain things, and you rely on your knowledge, and it can be, but some of the cars are a little more obscure than other cars, and to try and source parts for those is very difficult.
Okay. Now, have you seen it? Just, I don't know, this popped into my head, but Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
How many have you seen people come in to you that even in today's world now, they need a part, they find it on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
It's, well, here's an example. I had a 2016 Malibu.
Right.
The air filter for it,
Mm-hmm.
dealership wanted $105 for the thing. I found it on Amazon for $29.
Mm-hmm.
Same, of course, a remake of it, whatever.
Right.
You know what? I'm going to try it.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't work, I'm out $30. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it worked.
Yep.
No problem at all.
Mm-hmm.
But how many times do you come across somebody has bought something? It says it was for their vehicle, and it didn't work.
It's funny you say that. We have a car in our shop right now,
Okay.
and the fella, it's a late model Mustang, and he wants to lower it. He bought all of his own parts.
Okay.
None of them are right.
Really?
None of them. Because even though the catalog says it's there, you need to have somebody who knows what they should look like and buy it. So now he's got to take all those parts back and get them. And now that's where Nick's specialty in the front. Nick's the counter guy at the front.
Yeah.
That's his specialty, is sourcing parts.
Okay.
I've never seen anybody like him. And he can find it, and he can get the right stuff for you.
Well, I think Nick is the one that's got to be, he'll probably wind up doing some digging for me with this electrical thing that, since my vehicle's been down at Bob's a couple times now. I've got this wiring thing going on. Anyway, I got a headlight that decides, yeah, I'll turn on, then I'll turn off. I'll come on and off. And then every time I go to take it to these guys, it decides it's going to come on.
It's afraid of us.
Oh, it is. It's terrified.
Yep.
It doesn't like those guys. So anyway, and then since the starting issue, whatever, it's been running great.
Yeah.
It's firing up all the time. Now, last night, headlight went out. And I'm like, here we go.
Yep.
10 minutes later, the headlight's back on.
Yep.
So well, the starting thing, I think it's going to happen at some point.
Sure.
It's you know, and Nick, and that's where I said, just talking to Nick was like, you know, he will do his best to find you, you know, the part that's going to work.
And sometimes, Tony, I'll be honest with you, with sometimes when we go to buy dealer parts, they're not available. We go on Amazon and I can buy that part, the dealer part, on Amazon.
Yep.
And we're finding more and more that we're buying parts from Amazon.
Yep.
And it's reliable service.
It is.
And the pricing is usually pretty good, right? But we know what we're looking for. And so, but that's the thing, that the unsuspecting public doesn't.
Yeah.
And they think that in the catalog they can find that. They always save money. And we're finding more. People do say, Bob, I bought this starter motor. Will you put it in for us? Sure, we'll put it in. We make sure it's the right one and everything else, but we want to help them out.
Yep.
Right? We don't make money on the part, but we make money on the labor, and we get a loyal customer from them.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to change your business model.
Now, how would that work though? Say somebody brings in, okay, starter motor.
Yep.
So I need that put in there. So I say, I bought it. You put it in. 14 days later, all of a sudden the thing quits. So I bring it back. You check it. Well, it's not from us. Like our wiring, everything's good. The motor gave out. So now this is where it gets a little. So if I was to buy it through you guys, put it in, I have the warranty, everything.
100% parts and labor.
This is where now I have to pay you now to take it off, send it back, get another one, pay you to put it back on, where that would have all been eliminated. So really, you didn't save anything.
Nope.
By going that route for especially a mechanical item.
Yep.
Right? Should buy it through you guys.
It's a crapshoot, but you see, we're not a parts distributor. We're a service provider.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
It'd be the same thing as you going to a really nice restaurant in town here, and they're saying, I brought this steak. Will you cook it for me?
Yeah.
No, they won't. Okay? Because they're a service provider.
Absolutely.
They don't know what the quality is on it, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that's the issue that we're having here. We can sell ourselves and sell the warranty and the peace of mind. You're going to pay for that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, everybody complains about prices when you go out.
Yeah.
If you go out and you have a beer, that's like $8-9.
I know.
Right? You can go to the beer store and buy the same thing cheaper, right?
Yeah.
Do we complain about the price of beer at the restaurant? No, because it's in a different environment.
Yeah.
Okay. And you might not have, you only have one, right? But it's your choice to do that. And there's no difference in the car
I am
industry.
so glad I don't get into the bubblies anymore like I used to years ago. Yeah, I don't think I could afford it in today's world.
No.
I mean, back then you would go out with the buddies and might blow $60, something like that. It was a lot of money, you know, back in the early 80s. Now you go out, you know, $200 is, that was a good night. No, I couldn't do that.
No.
I couldn't do that.
No.
So what then inspired you to start the Auto Guys?
I was a Midas dealer I owned the Midas franchise here in St. Thomas for 20 years.
Okay.
Midas was a great company.
Where was it?
It was on Lau Cooks over by Joe Thornton Arena.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Auto Cooks.
And we had a very successful business. But the thing that I liked, and I got very involved with the Midas organization. I represented the Canadian Dealer Association in meetings with Midas Corporate. I really enjoyed and made a lot of good friends with Midas.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be where I am today had it not been for Midas. But I remember my accountant told me, when you're branding yourself, brand yourself, not the brand, not the Midas. So you want people to come to see you because of Bob and your team, not because of Midas.
Okay.
If you do that, you'll be very successful. And he was right. But I did not see the direction that Midas was going is not the direction that I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a Midas franchisee, we were operating outside the franchise agreement
Okay.
because back then it was just brakes and mufflers and suspension. That's all. We were doing full service oil changes, tune-ups, everything else like that.
Mm.
Okay. They were allowing it, which is fine. It's money for them, and I don't begrudge it for that.
Yeah.
But that's when I started to think I'm coming to the end of my term. My lease was coming up at the same time. I thought, no, I don't want to play in this arena anymore. I want to do something different. So all of the classes that I took training with different consulting groups on how to run a business, because I quickly found out that when I went from being a manager and a technician at a Midas shop in London to being a 49% owner of a Midas in St. Thomas, in 6 weeks that transpired.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
And I quickly found out, even though I was a good tech, I was not a good business owner, so I needed training.
Okay.
So I started taking training. These are the guys that helped me make the business the way it was. So I knew the transition from Midas, I could make it happen and have a minimal impact on my business when I made that transition.
Okay.
Because we bought this property over here where we're located on South Edgeware. And because a lot of the property, this was in the height of where the environmental studies were just starting to come about. And when we built that property, it was just a stage 1 environmental, which basically dig a few holes, do a sniff test, and that was it. So we jumped on it because that land over where our shop is was clean. It's all backfill from the excavation from the bypass.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, all of
Okay.
that, all of that land on South Edgeware is all of that.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So we knew it was clean. But I also knew the model that I wanted to have, because a lot of people come in and they think, you must be part of a franchise. No, we're not.
Yeah.
But all of the stuff that I learned from being a Midas dealer and from my consulting group training and the people, I combined that all together and made this what it is
Cool.
today. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot harder than what it used to be.
Yeah.
Especially with all the government regulations now. But I still enjoy it. The guys I've got working for me, all of the guys I've had working for me have been very good.
Yeah.
Okay. And they've chosen to move on for whatever reason. And I hope that they make a move that betters them. Right. So it's always your team. It's not me. And it's everything else. So we're trying to get, like as you see our Facebook posts and things like that. It's all team guys.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people get out there and put their staff on the Facebook or on the website and stuff. We do, because we're proud of them. And with their permission, you got to have their permission to put their pictures up now.
Yeah, of course.
We do that. And we have a lot of fun over there. It's a real team environment.
Now, does he do the social media side too?
He's right up on it. I'm not, but we have somebody that looks after our website and our social media posts.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. I remember, how long has it been now, the auto guys?
We've been over there, 2012 is when we opened.
Okay. So it's
12 years.
12 years now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. God, it's been that long already.
Time flies when you have fun.
Isn't it
Remember.
something? Hey, isn't it? So what do you believe then, Bob? What's the number one key for you in this kind of business to build trust with customers? What does that for you in the automotive side? Is it pricing? Is it service? Is it like what?
It's listening to customers and reading them,
Okay.
because then you're going to find out where their passions are or what they're looking for. And if you can cater to that and nurture that, then, because everybody's different. What the relationship that you and I have might be different from somebody else, right?
Right.
And if you can accommodate that and never assume 5 people are all the same. Everybody's different.
Right.
And if you can cater to that, then you're going to be successful at it.
My thought that just popped up right now, and I want to ask you this because it is something big for a lot of people. So I have a pretty significant breakdown or a part that's going to come in, and they're not cheap, like we said.
Mm-hmm.
Financing.
Mm-hmm.
I know at one time unless you knew the owner of the garage, they'd,
Yeah.
cover you.
Mhm.
I think at one time, I think you and me might even talked about like an auto repair insurance,
Right.
a policy that I could buy. So when I have repairs and stuff,
Yep.
I can go through that.
Mhm.
That is something that is available, like to your customers. If somebody comes in, they get it through you, or you have to apply to this company? I would imagine it's like a finance company.
It's a
kind of thing.
third-party finance company, Tony,
Okay.
and we are agents for them, and Nick knows those guys inside and out.
Okay.
And yes, it's available to customers. And if you come in, Nick knows how to fast track it and get answers quicker than if you were to do it yourself.
Okay.
Okay. And we're having a few people take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And this company has been very good to deal with. We've been with them for 3 or 4 years now.
Okay.
And there are a few more companies out there. Canadian laws prohibited a lot of this. That's why a lot of these companies weren't available.
Right. Because
But
I always seen it big in the States.
Yeah.
Lots
But
of companies.
there's companies. I think what you're referring to. There's companies where you can buy a plan that protect you from anything. It's a monthly plan,
Okay.
and it's once you're in there, you're so locked down. It's not funny.
Yeah.
And they will cover you under certain terms and conditions.
Yeah.
Up here, it's kind of a warranty. It's a third-party warranty that you buy with the vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah.
But unfortunately, everybody's excited when they buy a new vehicle, and they kind of don't pay attention to the person selling the warranty. And we're finding we deal with 2 major manufacturer warranty companies, and because we know how to deal with them, we have a good relationship with them.
Okay.
But not everybody's car, all of the things that their car they think is covered, that's not always the case.
Okay.
And there's so many loopholes that these companies can use, right, to get out of
To
it,
get out of it.
or to limit
Yeah.
the amount of coverage.
Yeah.
It's not the coverage you think you had,
Yeah.
right? But we're here to help you work with that.
So I was going to say that's another service actually out of the repair side,
Mhm.
but a service that you offer even to new customers coming or whatever. But I come to you and say, hey, I'm thinking of buying this car. I'm going to trade this one in. My van's in for service. Okay, Bob, I'm going to get rid of that.
Mhm.
I want to buy this, but
Mhm.
what do you think? That'd be a good stop.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and we're doing a lot more of them.
Okay.
Because we want you to protect your investment. So I will tell you, if you've got a vehicle and it's at the end of its life with you,
okay,
I'm going to tell you, Tony, don't put a lot of money into it. Just put the bare minimum to keep it by.
Yeah.
That car is going to be on the market in a few months. Okay.
Okay.
That's not the car you want to buy.
Okay.
Okay. Because there might be an underlying problem with it.
Right.
And people think that by buying a warranty, it's going to be covered. But no. What we want to do is we have the ability, Carfax is a wonderful source of information on the service history on a vehicle and whether it's been stolen or claims or everything on it.
Okay.
Because we have access to that, we can get it into greater depth than you could on the computer at home.
Okay.
We can find out more details about the service history.
And you just do that by running serial number?
Yep.
Okay.
No personal information comes up.
Yep.
It just tells you the
The
locations.
history of that vehicle.
So every time you bring your car into us, Tony, it gets on the Carfax report for your vehicle
Okay.
because we're registered with them.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, no personal information.
Wow.
And that I tell people, always have it checked out because your house and your car are your 2 major investments. And you want to make sure you're buying something that isn't problematic and that has been serviced very well. Okay? If it hasn't been serviced very well, we're going to tell you to stay away from it.
Okay. Well, listen, we got a couple minutes left. So for the auto guys then, eco-friendly practices. All right. What initiatives have you got for your business that is, everybody thinks of green now, right? We did talk about the chargers and more electric vehicles now. So what did you guys change in the process of the business in the shop that is more eco-friendly?
A lot of stuff, Tony. First of all, we're a registered used tire collector.
Oh, are you?
So
Okay.
you can bring your tires to me, and I'll dispose of them for you, no charge.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Okay. No charge.
And only a registered tire collector can have them picked up, and they're responsibly recycled.
Okay.
Okay. We do the same thing with our plastics. Any oil containers or chemical containers get recycled. We got the big blue bins out front that we put out every other week for the clean plastics and the papers and everything. So and other used chemicals, we get a waste oil picked up, our brake fluid, our coolant gets picked up, and all recycled responsibly. And that's the big thing is our footprint.
Okay.
Because when I had the shop built, we could not connect to the storm drains. We had to all of our water on the outside of the lot all gets funneled out to the back and gets put back into the ground.
Okay.
And that's environmentally sound.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the new mandate.
So you're going through weeping beds and stuff back there.
No, it's just a swale. It's what they call
is it?
it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's
Okay.
just it runs in there and it just drains into the ground.
Okay.
But it's how you deal with your stuff responsibly. So,
yeah.
And we get regular garbage collection because of where we're located. And I only maybe put 1 or 2 bags out a week. The rest is all recycled.
Recycled.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is there still people that do their own oil changes?
There are.
Can you bring your used oil, or is there a fee for that?
There is a fee because we have to pay to have the oil put away. But
right.
There's another thing. People should pay attention to their new vehicle warranties.
Yeah.
If you avoid the warranty on most new vehicles made within the last 8 to 10 years by changing your own oil.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It has to be changed at a repair
certified
shop with a documented invoice.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Yep.
And I often wonder. Now, I remember we had a garage in Grand Bend where the fellow converted his oil burning stove and used to collect all the used motor oil, and he had a container on the side, and you pour it all in there, and it would inject with the other furnace oil, and he saved himself a ton of money.
Yeah. Those were
back then.
banned a few years ago.
Oh, were they?
Which is terrible because, in theory, a good friend of mine owned a Midas in a small community, and we used to save him all the automatic transmission fluid that we saved it when we changed the fluid in cars because that's clean.
Yeah.
And he would use nothing but that in his waste oil furnaces. It'd be nothing for me in a cold winter day when it's minus 15 out. I'd walk into a shop and it's like 70 degrees in there. The guys are all in their shirt sleeves and everything, and they didn't care because it didn't cost them anything.
Didn't cost them.
Nope.
All right. What vehicle? So you're sitting at your desk, and a certain vehicle pulls in, and it just makes you go, "Oh no, I don't want this thing." Like, what make of vehicle is kind of like the hardest to work on? Are they all pretty similar, or is there always there's that one that just you can't?
No,
it's just a nightmare to work on.
No, they're not. It's your. Remember, I talked to you earlier about German cars.
Yes.
Different mindset when you're dealing with those.
Okay.
If you embrace them, you won't be saying that.
Okay.
Okay. But if you don't, like we have a huge mini following.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, minis. Yeah.
Minis. Yeah.
Okay.
Quite a few people come to us, and it's by word of mouth, right? Because we enjoy working on them and you understand them.
All right.
And that's the thing. If you come in with open arms, say you bring whatever you want to bring in, right? And we'll work on it. There are cars that are more problematic than others. We know about them. We know the pitfalls with them. And we can help the customers make an informed decision because you don't want to let a customer know that vehicle that you're bringing in is not one of our favorites because you're actually insulting them.
Yeah, I guess.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah, you don't.
No.
I know. I remember a friend of mine had an '86 Cougar. That thing was an absolute nightmare to change spark plugs.
Yep.
You couldn't get the back ones. The motor had to be unhooked and brought forward to come out.
Yep.
Yeah, there was some. I remember when I worked in doing oil changes and all that stuff. The car I hated was the Pontiac 6000 because you always had to wrap your wrist up because every time you had to go up through the white pipe to get the filter, you always touch your forearm on the pipes.
Yep.
Yeah, and those cars were always driven in, miles away, so they're nice and red hot.
toasty.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So, Do you have any new services, technologies that maybe you're planning on introducing now? I know we did talk a little bit about electric cars, but do you see other things coming that you're going to be hoping to introduce?
Not really, because a lot of the cars, until you see the cars come out and you see what maintenance regimen those cars need, then we're going to adapt to that.
Okay.
The biggest thing is, like you said earlier, in the old days, you used to have 2 oil bins. One was 10W30 and the other was 5W30.
Yeah.
I've got 20 different oils that I keep in stock all the time because they're vehicle specific.
And these are probably oils, really, Bob, that for 30 years when I worked in the oil business with Esso and delivering fuel and packaged goods and hydraulic oils and all that stuff. So you probably got oils today that I just never even heard of.
No.
You know, I tend, even 530, we really didn't hear a lot of that back in the 90s. A lot it was 1030, 1040, 2050, you know, your winter brands. Now you're seeing these synthetics and 520.
There's 520, there's 020, there's 016,
Wow.
and now
I
the
have no
latest
idea
one
what
out
that
by
is.
Toyota is 0W8.
0W8.
oil, and you can right now you can only buy it from Toyota. The manufacturers haven't been able to release it.
And what makes that such a specific oil? Is it the
The tolerances in the engine are so tight.
yeah?
Yep.
Wow.
And oil is a source, it robs horsepower.
Okay.
So the thinner they can make the oil to do the lubricating qualities, the less rotating friction there is on the engine.
Okay.
So it frees up power, makes it run cooler, and it gives
Okay.
you a better fuel economy. That's how close they're running it. And you see, not all synthetic oils are the same, Tony. There's different specifications for it. So German cars require different specifications. So we actually have to look that up, and we document that on your invoice as to what spec oil goes in it. But if you were to go to a local parts store and just say, I want 020 synthetic oil.
Yeah.
The 020 synthetic oil that goes in German cars is a different spec
Okay.
than the 020 that goes in domestic cars.
So what would happen? Really, maybe not a lot. Okay. I have, say, a 2015 Caravan, and I'm just doing 1030 in it, whatever now.
Okay.
Not doing the, I bought it used, whatever. It's just kind of a junk. No more synthetic oils anyway.
Right.
So it'll run okay. I put the 1030 in it.
It might.
It might. Okay.
So the one rule of thumb that I've always followed, I'm not a design engineer.
Okay.
Okay. So if the car calls for 520, that's what I put in it.
Okay.
Okay. If you want me to put something else in it, I won't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the new cars are so sophisticated with all of the sensors on the engines. A lot of the new cars don't even have oil dipsticks. You need a scan tool to measure the amount of oil that's in it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
But now the cars are so sophisticated, if you put the wrong oil in it, it flags it and it sends a notification to the manufacturer that this vehicle's been serviced with the wrong oil in it.
It sends it to the manufacturer. Oh, wow.
Yeah. You'd be surprised the amount of data that's transmitted on cars to the manufacturer
No,
that you can't control.
Wow. You don't even know it's doing it.
No, and you
Wow.
can't shut it off.
Wow.
Some of it you can, but a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff you can't. And that's the manufacturers want to protect their vehicles.
Wow. Is that something? Well, I guess, yeah, they want to protect their vehicles, but they want to make sure you're not coming back to get them to
Do something
pay
for
for
nothing.
stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Couple pictures here, and then we're closing her off.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to be showing these on the screen as I show you.
Yep.
So we talked a lot about Nick.
Yep.
Very nice guy. What's going on there?
So he's sitting on a snow pile, okay?
Okay.
And that's the theme about having fun at the shop,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So that's not his traditional uniform, right?
Oh, it's not.
And that's no.
Okay.
And we wanted to dress him up funny because a picture draws attention,
Okay.
and you gravitated to that right away. So that's successful.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's, never mind the fuel tankers in the back, but
Yep.
I saw the snow and he's got a little fan in his hand, and yeah.
It was -4 that day when he was
Was
out
it
there.
really?
Yeah, he wanted
Oh,
to get
yeah.
inside pretty quick.
I was going to say that fake
Yep.
smile then. That's okay.
Mhm.
This one made me laugh because I mean, I don't know how many people I have bribed
Mhm.
with what you have in your hands right now.
Mhm.
There you are.
There we go.
Yep. That's
I've
I
got a
always say
drinking
no.
problem.
You have a drinking
Yep,
problem.
I'm two-fisting it all the time.
Yep. So that's taken from the side bays, obviously,
Yep.
as you're coming back, big smile on your face. But Tom Phillips, we had in here was we did our first pilot episode
Mhm.
2 seasons ago now,
Mhm.
believe it or not. And Tom was our mechanic at Cox Cabs,
Right.
and he worked in the shop there, and we talked about all the different things and like hooking up meters and wiring and
Right.
things he did that there's no way I could.
Right.
I have no patience for that. But there were certain things if I needed done that the other guys didn't have, or I needed a rush done on something.
Right.
Timmy's. I just go get Tom some Tims, and yeah,
It's a good bribe.
it's a good bribe.
And I'll tell you
Powerful.
honestly, Tony, they're great neighbors.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when people come in, they drop their car off. They said, "Are you going over to our annex next door?"
Yeah.
And they always do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And
Well-
from time to time, I've got a gift card from them, and I'll just sometime if you come
Oh,
in,
nice.
I'll say, "Here, take the gift card over and buy yourself a coffee and bring it back to me."
Nice.
Right. And but that picture got a lot of comments there.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yep.
That's cute. I like this one too. This shows kind of the family feel of the place.
Yep.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Off.
It's
off,
like
yeah, they're weird, right?
yeah, it's like look,
Yep.
I'm pretty.
Yeah.
I'm pretty.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's all about fun.
That's awesome. So, okay, Bob. Anything else? Is there anything you want anybody to know? For your business, if they haven't been to you yet, what
It's
should
all,
they
yeah.
expect? I know that you like you said, you're busy.
Mhm.
So if you come in, you need service. It may be some time. Like you may have to wait a day or two. It may be
Yep.
you may have an opening, but
It's all about building relationships. I mean, you have
Okay.
to feel comfortable with who you're dealing with.
Okay.
And back when you and I grew up, it was all about relationships. You'd keep going back to the same place all the time.
Yeah.
They got to know you. They got to know your car, what your likes and dislikes were, and you could cater to that. But you had comfort knowing that when you went in there, you were going to get treated the way you like.
yeah, right.
Okay?
Yep.
Now it's a lot more difficult because the young people today don't build relationships the way we did.
That's
They can, right? And it's up to us to educate them as to the benefits about doing that
Yeah.
by making them feel comfortable. So that's the thing. It doesn't
Okay.
matter what shop you go
Okay.
to, you have to feel comfortable with them and dealing with them and knowing that they'll do whatever it takes
Okay.
to earn your trust and to keep it.
So the biggest part that I know of, I have a friend that's actually going through this. He doesn't live anywhere around here, but he had to take his vehicle in, and it was a pretty big expense. The one thing he told me that he's blown away was that person that worked there said, "You know what? Don't worry about the cost.
Mhm.
We've got some ideas to help you out with that."
Mhm.
That's a big thing, I think, for a lot of people, and that's where you guys are. You have avenues that you can help people, and you'll suggest that to customers.
Absolutely. Yep.
So that's a big one.
We
That's a
try to
big one,
cater to
you know.
your situation.
Awesome.
And if it means saving you some money or putting a used part on or whatever to save you some
Yep.
money that we know is good, that's what we do.
Do you still get a lot of requests for auto wrecker parts?
Not as much as we used to.
Yeah.
Okay. But I will
Okay.
tell you, in the last 6 months, we've done more major engine replacements than in the last 10 years.
Oh, wow.
People are hanging on to their vehicles.
Okay.
And again,
Yeah.
where I buy those engines from is a very small group because I know the quality of them.
Okay.
Okay. Because I don't want to have to do them again.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Thanks, Bob.
Pleasure, Tony.
I really enjoyed that. Learned some stuff.
Likewise.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
They always say you can't teach a dog old
Old
dog,
dog,
new
new
tricks.
tricks,
Right?
yes.
Of course you can.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just I can't remember them. All right, folks. Take care. Thanks. Auto guys, go out and see them. Go see Bob, Nick at the counter. Yeah, good guys. They'll get you looked after. If you got some questions, yeah, drop in. Just drop in, see them,
Yep.
and get some popcorn. He's got popcorn. All
And
right.
coffee.
And coffee. All right. Take care, folks. Bye for now. There we go. We are